Hey, thanks for checking out this video. So this video is going to be based around the misconception that black hair does not grow. This inaccurate notion has been prevalent amongst the black community for, I think, generations upon generations, which is really sad because it's something that's not true. And I feel like we've been brainwashed with this idea that our hair does not grow and that in rare cases, black people will have long hair, but for the majority of people, we don't have long hair and or we can't grow long hair, and that is just not true. And in particular, because women often want to grow their hair long, black women have been really pretty much ridiculed and demeaned with their hair. We often get called bald headed and chicken head and all these kind of demeaning names from other black women and also black men, and not to shame anyone or anything like that, but this is just based upon my experience and yeah, just what I've seen, which is something that is just not cool. I mean, when you look at other ethnicities and them having short hair and them wearing weaves and extensions and clip-ins, they never get called any of these names from other ethnicities or even their own. So for that to be something that is going on within the black community is something that is just not right. And I just want to talk about why black people feel their hair probably does not grow. And I want to talk about the reasons why it may not be growing and also some tips. So, first off, I want to start with human hair biology. This applies to all humans, no matter your ethnicity. So, we all have a hair cycle, and the hair cycle consists of 3 phases. The first phase is the anagen phase, and this is considered the growth phase. This lasts about 2 to 6 years, although for some individuals it lasts longer, which is pretty cool. The second phase is called the catagen phase, and this is where the hair stops growing, and this lasts 2 to 3 months. The third phase is called the telogen phase, and this is where the hair is slowly releasing itself from the scalp and sheds, and this lasts 2 to 3 weeks. Next, I want to talk about the kind of hair that black people usually have. We tend to naturally have curly hair, and our hair tends to be thicker than other hair types. And because we naturally have curly hair, our hair is naturally dry. The reason being is that our scalp produces a oily waxy matter called sebum, and sebum is something that goes from the scalp and is supposed to come down the strands to lubricate it. So for straight hair, this happens very easily because the strands are just straight, as opposed to curly hair. The sebum has to come from the scalp and go down all the different curls in our hair. This tends to lead to an oily scalp and dry hair. It can also cause a dry scalp and dry hair because the sebum has this irregular type of distribution to where it can happen both ways. You can have an oily scalp and oily scalp and dry hair, or dry scalp and dry hair. Now, with our hair naturally being dry, dryness leads to breakage. So breakage is when your hair breaks off prematurely. So it has not gone through the telogen stage naturally. It can be in the anagen stage, possibly. It could possibly be in the stage where the hair is supposed to be growing, but it prematurely breaks off due to it being dry. And because hair breaks off prematurely, This inhibits the ability of a person to retain the length that they grew. Length retention is very important for your hair to grow because you have to retain the length that you grew in order to see your hair continuing to get longer. But like I mentioned, if your hair is dry, that leads to breakage, which inhibits you retaining length. So, with that being said, I want to transition into how Black people take care of their hair. I know when I was younger, I did not know how to take care of my hair. I did not know how to moisturize it. I did not know how to properly detangle it. I did not know any of these things. I didn't know how to really properly just care for it in general. And I think that this is true for a lot of Black people. So, because of not knowing how to take care of the hair that we naturally have, we're more prone to breaking off our hair accidentally and not being able to retain the length that we grew, which results in our hair being shorter. Another thing that we often do is because we don't know how to take care of our hair, we get relaxers and we straighten our hair to be able to manage it better and manipulate it easier. I know when I was younger, my mom did this for me. She gave me relaxers not very often, and I think that's one of the reasons why my hair was never like damaged. I did not get relaxers that often. I think I got them probably once a year. There's like you're supposed to get them every 6 months or something. Some people do them earlier than that, which is one of the reasons why people have such damaged hair because they get them too often. But I didn't get them that often. I got them probably like once a year. And then sometimes, occasionally, my mom would straighten my hair. But typically, I always had braids or my hair was in ponytails or just away. It was never really down. And my mom, she took pretty good care of my hair, but for a lot of Black people, I know that our moms and the people that take care of us and do our hair, they don't know how to take care of our hair. I mean, I know the kids that sit in the chair and they're getting their hair done and they dread it, which is something that I did. I dreaded it. And having to get your hair combed out and it hurting. Combing your hair is not supposed to hurt in the least bit. So if it hurts, most likely some of your hair is being prematurely ripped out of the growth phase. So you're not going to be able to retain the length that you grew, which results in your hair being shorter than it could have been if that hair was not ripped out of your scalp. Another thing that we often get is, like I mentioned, relaxers and also having our hair straightened. So both of those things actually puts stress on the hair. And relaxers actually can break the hair shaft, which is the strands that come out of the scalp, which is all of, this hair. It can break the hair shaft, so that is breakage. And your hair can become really fragile. You can even get different types of scarring on your scalp and all of that kind of stuff. It can actually lead to scarring alopecia. But back to relaxers and straighteners being stressful on the hair. They pretty much take the hair out of its natural environment and it just puts a lot of stress on the hair, which makes the hair thinner. If you notice, people who have their hair relaxed, their hair gets thinner, especially if they do it a lot over time. It gets very thin and even shorter. So going back to me not knowing how to properly take care of my hair, because I didn't know how to properly take care of my hair, I didn't know how to properly detangle it, and I didn't know how to moisturize it. So those are some of the things that can break off our hair as well. If you don't know how to properly moisturize your hair, and because you do have naturally curly hair, most black people do. I know my brother, my little brother, he has some curls, but mostly straight hair, which is interesting. But the rest of us, we have curly hair. So, because black people most often have curly hair and curly hair is naturally dry, it's very important to know how to moisturize your hair so it doesn't become or stay dry, which leads to breakage and then you're not retaining any length. Also, properly detangling your hair is very important as well. When I was younger, I did not know that I needed some type of water and something else on my hair, some type of conditioner or some type of oil, something to lubricate my hair to where I can easily maneuver through the tangles and knots in my hair. If you detangle your hair when it's dry, that's just not a good idea because the hair has no sort of lubrication. It's going to make it harder for you to detangle your hair, and probably because you get frustrated, it's going to hurt because you're just trying to get through it, and also you're ripping out your hair when you are not gentle. And some of that hair, like I mentioned, is probably not in the telogen phase. Most of it should be. But if you're not gentle with your hair, you're going to be ripping out hair that has not naturally shed. And that's hair that probably was in the anagen phase and it was growing. And consistency and properly taking care of your hair is really pretty much interconnected. You can't do one without the other. You can't be consistent in doing your hair but not properly taking care of it, not properly moisturizing it, not properly detangling it. You know, you have to make sure that you are being consistent but being effective at what you're doing, not half doing it, pretty much. And I think that a lot of us think that there is some type of magical product that's just going to make our hair grow. There are ingredients that can induce the anagen phase and can induce the amount of hairs and thickness of the hairs in the anagen phase, but there's no magical product that's just going to make your hair grow instantaneously. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the or you have to be consistent. You have to all of these things are interconnected. It's just you have to do it. I don't think that one product is just going to magically make your hair grow, but it can aid in you moisturizing your hair, or it can aid in you being able to properly detangle your hair so that you can be on the road to retaining the length and getting longer hair. And for me, I didn't have any magical products. I just made sure I was consistent and I made sure I was properly taking care of my hair. I don't take vitamins, and for a while I didn't even eat the best, but I do feel as though eating good and getting those vitamins and minerals are important to helping your inner or your internal health and your external health. But also, different nutrients do help strengthen your hair. It helps nourish your hair and it helps your hair be able to grow. And I do believe that black hair does grow. I just think that we have to become more informed about our hair. And I think that with us learning about our natural hair, we are becoming more knowledgeable about the hair that grows naturally out of our scalp, and we're able to grow our hair longer than we've ever been able to in our lives. And hopefully this video provided some insight and maybe some motivation for you all that do want to grow your hair to take the proper steps to going about it. I think that if you don't have a medical condition or any type of nutrient deficiency that will inhibit your hair from growing, that you can grow your hair. So I feel like I've kind of gone in circles a little bit, but that is all for this video. I hope that it was informational and helpful, and it provided some type of insight and maybe even motivation for you guys. So that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.